Hello dear grade 7 children. Today you all are here with me to learn science. So I am sure you have learned science in grade 6. So science is a very interesting subject. I am sure you all like science subject. So do you remember last year what you learned? You learned about the environment, about the plants, animals, and I'm sure you have done a lot of experiments as well. And you enjoyed the science subject, right? So even this year, we have so many interesting things to learn. So we will start our work. So the first lesson we have today is plant diversity. What is the meaning of diversity, children? So under this lesson, we are going to learn so many things about plants. So what is the meaning of diversity? Even last year, we learned about diversity of plants and animals as well. So diversity means the differences. So under this lesson, we are going to learn there are differences between plants. Okay. So we will see what we have to learn under this topic. Okay. We are going to learn the morphological features of flowering plants. We are going to learn what is the meaning of morphological features. Now, morphological features means the external characteristics. Okay, so under this part, we are going to learn when we take the plant, when we look at the plant, there are so many differences. Okay, and main parts of a flowering plant. We are going to learn what are the parts of plants. Understand? And diversity of the parts of flowering plants. Then we are going to learn that there are so many differences between each part. Okay, children. So, monocotyledonous and dicotyledonous plants, or very simply monocots and dicots. Now, these two are two new terms for you all. I'm going to teach you the meaning of these monocots and dicots. So, we will start the lesson now. Right, children, look at this. Morphological features of flowering plants. What do we have here? This is a picture of a very beautiful garden. You all can see this. Look at this, children. You can see there are so many trees, right? There are bushes. Now you all know that when we say the name plants, we all picture a big plant, a big tree most of the time with branches and the stem and the leaves. But we all know that when it comes to plants, there are so many changes. Big trees are also there, but there are some other types of plants as well, right? So look at this picture, children. You all can see now here, it's a coconut tree, and there are some other large trees here, and tiny bushes also present. Okay, children. And look at this. This is also bush. Okay. So you can see some of these plants, they have flowers. See, some colorful flowers are here, and even here you can see there are some flowers, right, children? And some of these plants, they don't have flowers. But look at this coconut tree. At the moment we can't see flowers, but coconut tree bears flowers. Okay, children. So you can see there are so many plants. Some have flowers and some don't have flowers. Understand? Now look at this plant, children. This is a type of fern. Right? This is a type of ferns. Ferns don't bear flowers. Understand, children? So when we discuss about the morphological features of flowering plants, we are going to learn about plants with flowers and plants without flowers. Understand? We will see. We have to do an activity now, children. Okay? Prepare a table by grouping all the following plants into plants which bear flowers and plants which do not bear flowers. Now I already mentioned you that there are some plants, they bear flowers, they have flowers, and some other plants are there, they don't produce flowers throughout their lifetime. Okay, so look at these pictures, children. We have some plants here. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to study these plants and we have to group them in a table. Right? We have to group them according to presence or absence of flowers. Okay, children? So, look at this. Now, some of these plants, it's obvious because the pictures are given here. it's obvious that there are flowers. Look at this rose. We all know that rose, there are beautiful flowers, colorful roses are there, right? So rose is coming under plants that bear flowers, right? Ferns, even earlier I mentioned you that fern is a type of plant that do not bear flowers. Okay, children, no matter how long you observe a fern plant, fern do not produce flowers. Okay, children, so ferns do not produce flowers. So most of the time we grow these ferns as an ornamental plant. It beautifies the environment, right? And idde. Now idde has a small white color flower. Gardenia also has a white color flower. It has a very nice fragrance. Okay. Balsam, now you must have seen balsam. There are different colored balsam plants are there. Balsam flowers are there, right? So if you observe this balsam plant carefully, you will see it has a very tender stem, right? And water lily. Water lily is also a beautiful flower, right? And moss, you must have seen moss in very like moist areas, right? Moss can be seen in moist areas, on walls or on the ground and on the different surfaces. You can see this moss, right? And moss also do not produce flowers, okay? And sal or cannonball. Sal has a beautiful flower with nice fragrance, okay? Lotus has flowers. What is this, children? Cycas. Now cycas is also a type of ornamental plants, right? It's a type of ornamental plant and it does not produce flowers, okay? Shoe flower, we have seen shoe flowers, right? Long beans also produce a small flower, okay? Curry leaves or carapincha. Now they have a lot of leaves in the tree, right? But there's a white color flower as well. We can't see these curry leaf flowers most of the time. However, they produce a white color flower. Understand? And Drinaria. Now this Drinaria is another plant which does not produce flowers. Okay, children. So most of the time this Drinaria, they grow on another plant. Therefore, these type of plants that grow on another plant are known as epiphytes. What is that term? Epiphytes. Right, epiphytes. Drinaria does not produce flowers. Okay, Katarolu. Now this is a blue Katarolu flower. Katarolu plants also produce flowers and some of them are blue and there are white color flowers as well. Okay, Jasmine, you all know that jasmine produces a white color flower with nice fragrance. Okay, cypress plant. You take cypress plant, you use this cypress plant to make these Christmas trees. Okay, and coconut is a plant that produces flowers. Okay, and salvinia is an aquatic plant. You can see the salvinia in ponds. Understand? Salvinia also does not produce flowers. So when you look at the environment, you will realize that there are so many plants and there are so many differences in between these plants, and some of them produce flowers and some of them do not produce flowers. Now what we have to do in this activity is we have to prepare a table by grouping them into plants with flowers and plants without flowers. Now we can do that. You all can do this with me, okay? Right. Look at this. Plants which bear flowers, plants which do not bear flowers. Now shall we do this, children? So plants with flowers here, rose, idde, gardenia, balsam, they have flowers. Therefore, I'm going to write them. Rose, idde, gardenia, balsam. Right, children? What about ferns? Ferns do not produce flowers. Therefore, it should go to the other side. Right. Okay. Water lily, sun, lotus, they have flowers. Right. And moss, cycas, they don't have flowers. They have no flowers, right? Shoe flower, long bean, curry leaves, they bear flowers. Okay. Drinaria, cypress, salvinia, no flowers. We have some more here. Catarolu, jasmine, coconut. They have flowers. Understand, children? So it's very clear when you look at some plants, they have flowers like this list, and when you look at some other plants, they don't have flowers. Okay, children? So ferns, moss, cycas, drinaria, cypress, salvinia, they do not bear flowers. And these plants, they have flowers. So is there another way that we can define these plants which bear flowers and plants which do not bear flowers, children? Now we are going to see that. Remember, children, so far we learned that there are some plants that bear flowers and there are some other plants that do not bear flowers. We are going to give them a special terms now. Plants which bear flowers. What are the plants which bear flowers? We give a special name for them. We call them flowering plants. Flowering plants. So what is the term that we can give to the plants which do not bear flowers? Yes, non-flowering plants. Plants with flowers are known as flowering plants and plants without flowers are known as non-flowering plants. Understand? We'll write. Non-flowering plants. So what are the examples for flowering plants? Now we already studied what are the flowering plants. There are some more examples as well. We will write a few examples here. Flowering plants, rose, temple flowers, right? These are coming under flowering plants. Non-flowering plants, what are the examples? Cycas, salvinia, these are the examples. Understand, children? So remember, hereafter we are not going to say plants which bear flowers or plants which do not bear flowers. Straight away we can say flowering plants and non-flowering plants. Understand? Okay, children. Now we have to do an assignment. But before this assignment, I have to tell you something. Under this lesson, you all have to make this special book called field book. What is that? Yes, field book. How do you make this one, children? This you can make it as a booklet. Okay, you can use some A4 sheets or some other papers as well, or maybe you can buy a book from stores and you can make your own field book. What are we going to do here, children? We are going to paste pictures and we are going to paste specimens or like some other plants that you can find from the environment. Okay, I will stepwise explain how to make this booklet. And this is very important to make booklet, children, because you can improve your knowledge by making a booklet like this. Understand, children? So this field book you all can prepare and I am sure you will love this activity. So what is this assignment, children? We will read this. Observe plants in your home garden or in your school premises. Identify them as flowering plants and non-flowering plants. Now you are familiar with this because we already did an activity regarding this one, right? Tabulate the plants you identified as flowering plants and non-flowering plants. What is the meaning of tabulate? Tabulate means including in a table, right? So what you have to do, you can choose one of these environments, home garden or your school premises, right? You have to observe the environment carefully. As children who learn science, it's really important to observe the environment carefully. Okay, children, so you will find there are so many things in the environment. There are so many differences among these plants. Understand? So you can look at the environment and you can find what are the flowering plants and what are the non-flowering plants. Okay, you can make a list. Now remember, I told you that you have to make a field book. You can add this assignment as the first activity in the field book. What you have to do is, you have to observe the environment, either your home garden or school premises, and you have to write down the names of all the plants that you come across with in the field book, the first page. And then you have to make a table like this, right? You can make a table. One side you can add flowering plants, and the other side non-flowering plants, right? And the other side you can write down non-flowering plants. Okay, this should be the first activity in your field book. Understand? Non-flowering plants. First of all, in the first page, you can write down the list of the plants that you see. And then you can divide them into two groups as flowering plants and non-flowering plants, right? And you can even paste pictures of those plants, children. Okay, if you can find pictures, or even you can draw diagrams as well. Understand? So this will be the first activity that you all are going to add to your field book. Okay, children. So now you all know that there are two different types of plants called flowering and non-flowering plants. So what are the flowering plants, children? Flowering plants are the plants that produce flowers, and non-flowering plants are the plants that do not produce flowers, right? So here we have some examples for flowering and non-flowering plants. Now remember, here I have only a few plants today, but if you go out, you can find more plants in the gardens, in botanical gardens and your home gardens, etc. Right. So I will take this plant first. Can you all see this? This is the Monerocudumbia plant. This is called Monerocudumbia. Right? So you all can see clearly. Here we have tiny purple color flowers. Right? See. You can see tiny purple color flowers, right? So this is coming under a flowering plant that produce flowers, right? I'm going to keep it here, okay? And what is this plant? This is Cupamania plant. Now, this is the flower. These green color tiny parts are the flowers. Right, so as these produce flowers, this is also coming under flowering plants. So I'm going to keep flowering plants in one side, right? So what is this plant? Have you seen this plant, children? This is called ferns. right? There are different types of ferns. Now this is also one type. You can see these ferns in shady areas, right? In wet zones most of the time, right? So remember, this does not produce flowers. Let's say that you observe this for weeks or months, but you will not observe any flower in this plant, right? That is because these ferns, they do not produce flowers. Therefore, they are coming under non-flowering plants. Now, what is this? You must have seen this. This plant is called Katarolu, right? There are these purple blue color flowers, right? So, this is a flowering plant, Katarolu. Now, what about this plant, children? Now, this actually doesn't look like a real plant like this. Now, if you take these plants, you all can see the roots are there, right? You observe the branches and leaves. But if you take this one, you can't see any of this, right? Now, this plant is moss. You can see this moss on walls, right, in wet areas. You can see in this one on walls and on tree trunks as well, right? So, if you go to forest like Singharaja forest, this plant is everywhere, right? So, this plant actually doesn't have the real plant structure. Okay, this is actually a very primitive plant. This is not a developed plant, right? This doesn't have a plant-like structure, right? This structure is known as a thallus-like structure. Okay, this structure is a thallus-like structure. However, this plant also doesn't produce any flowers. Therefore, this moss is also coming under non-flowering plants. Therefore, I'm going to keep it here. So, what about this one? This also you must have seen. This is known as balsam. You can see there are roots and stem, right? And leaves and these flowers also present. So, this is also coming under a flowering plant. So, I think it's very clear that some plants, when we take some plants, they produce flowers, and some other plants, they do not produce flowers, right? So, the plants that produce flowers are known as flowering plants, which I kept here, right? And the other plants that do not produce flowers are known as non-flowering plants. I hope it's very clear. Right, children? Our next topic is main parts of a flowering plant. Now, we all know what a flowering plant means. Plants which bear flowers, right? So, we can draw and label parts of a flowering plants. Okay, so what are the parts of a flowering plant, children? You all know that when you look at a tree or another plant, you all will see they have stems, right? Stem is there. Branches. There are some plants that don't have branches as well. Branches and leaves. Flowering plants, so therefore flowers also present, right? Fruits. We can see these things. Even though we can't see, we know that roots are also there. Understand, children? So these are the parts of a plant. So there are different other parts as well. Basically, these parts we can see in a flowering plant. So we have another assignment to do regarding this one. We will see assignment. Now remember, this will be the second activity or second assignment that you are going to add to your field book. Now I told you how to prepare your field book. Now it should be very interesting. You have to paste pictures, you have to add more details, and you can maintain that field book very nicely. Okay? So assignment. Select a small plant that produces flowers and fruits. Now you all know that there are very large plants that produce flowers and fruits, but you can't take it to the classroom and observe. So you have to select a small plant that produces flowers and fruits. The best example is Monorucudumbi or Cupamania, children. These are herbs, tiny plants, and at the same time they produce flowers. So it's very easy to observe. Okay, so select a small plant that produces flowers and fruits, and then add some water to the roots because we are going to uproot these plants, take this out from soil. Okay, so why do we have to add some water to the roots, children? Now these roots are already tightly bound with soil particles. Okay, so we have to loosen these soil particles around the roots. That is why we have to add some water to the roots. Okay, so uproot it from the soil carefully without breaking roots, because we are going to observe the parts of a flowering plant. So roots have to be there. Okay, and remove soil around roots carefully. And then what you have to do is press it between pages of newspapers. I'm sure you must have pressed some flowers and leaves, even some tiny plants, right? Do you remember sometimes you used to make the greeting card using those pressed flowers as well? I'm sure you have done that. Okay, so press it between pages of newspapers. What you have to do is, after uprooting that plant, you have to keep it in between newspapers or maybe tissues. Okay, and by adding a weight, so on this newspaper you can place a weight to press it nicely. You can even use a large book. Okay, so in between the pages you can put, but make sure before you insert this plant inside these pages, you have to cover it with tissues or newspapers. Otherwise, it will damage the book. Okay, so press it between pages of newspapers by adding a weight. Let it dry for about 1-2 weeks, right? Paste the pressed plant in the field book after about 1 week. Okay, so you have to press this plant and you have to paste it in your field book. Now I'm going to show you how to press a plant in the lab. We will see that. Right, children? So you observe the flowering and non-flowering plants, and now we are going to observe the parts of a flowering plant. So here we have this Monrocudumbia plant again. We observed this earlier as well. So you can observe this as a flowering plant, right? So you all know that any plant, right, flowering plant, when we take, there are two main areas, the shoot system and the root system, right? Shoot system means the system that you can see from outside above the ground, right? And root system is there. So we'll start from this root system. You all can see in this Monrocudumbia plant, there's a main root present here. Now this main root is known as the taproot, right? And these other roots arise from the main root. These are known as the lateral root, right? And you can see this is the plant stem, and branches are also here, right? So you can see the flowers here, right? And the leaves are there. So matured leaves, big leaves present, large leaves are matured leaves, and tiny leaves present, they are new leaves, right? So, and you also can see the buds. Now in these branch areas, you can see, let me see this one. Yeah, you can see this tiny, see, from here you can easily see this is a lateral bud. Okay, so when you go to the top, you will see apical buds, right? Somewhere here, I hope it's clear. Apical bud is also there, right? So when you observe these flowering plants, you have to be very careful, right? To observe the root system and the stem, right? And some plants, even though in this plant it is not there, some plants you can see fruits as well. So fruits also come in under part of a flowering plant. Okay, so what are the parts of the flowering plant that we learned, children? We learned the roots and the stem, branches, leaves, flowers, its lateral bud and the apical bud as well. And even though it's not here, fruits are also coming under a part, right? So you all know that we have to make a field book under this lesson, right? So we have to press different types of plants, okay? And we have to paste those plants, the pressed plant in this field book, right? So I'm going to show you how to press a Monrocudumbia plant now, right, children? So what do you need in order to press a plant? Here I have a small Monrocudumbia plant, right? Uprooted carefully without damaging the roots, right? So you have to wash this plant really well, and then you have to press it using a heavy book. Okay, even between newspapers also you can press, and you can put a weight on top of the press plant. And first of all, you'll have to, between pages, you'll have to lay these tissues or even filter papers you can use. Newspapers also you can use, right? And you have to place the plant like this without damaging the leaves, right? So why do we have to use these tissues? One thing, it can absorb any moisture present in this plant, and at the same time it won't damage the pages of the book as well, right? So we are going to cover it like this, and then we have to close the book, and we have to press it for about 1 to 2 weeks, right? So when you press it like that for about 1 to 2 weeks, you can see something like this. This is a previously pressed Monrocudumbia plant. Okay, so all the leaves are dried. You can see the roots, right? This plant is nicely pressed. So what you have to do is now you have to paste this on the field book, and you have to label the parts of the plant. We learn what are the parts of a flowering plant. So you have to paste this type of pressed flowering plant in your field book, and you have to label it. Okay? Right, children? Did you observe how a plant is pressed in the lab, children? So you all can use the same method, and you can press plants and you can paste them in your field book. Not only pasting, remember, after pasting, you have to label the parts of the plants as well. So how to do this, children? I already told you that there are many parts in a flowering plant. We will see it in detail now. See, what is this? It's a flowering plant. You all can see flowers, fruits, and it's a tomato plant, right? So shall we label this one, children? We'll do this. There are so many parts given here, you all can see. So what is this? Number 1. Now when you look at this plant, you can see there's a main root that goes down the soil. Right, this main root is known as the tap root, and you can see some other roots arise from this main root, children. These are known as lateral roots. We will write down 1 tap root, number 2 lateral roots. See number 3. Now when we take the entire plant, you know that only one part we can see, the part which present above the ground. Okay, and there's another part, the root system, the entire root system present inside the ground, and that part is known as the root system. The part that we can't see, the part which remains underground, that part is known as the root system. Therefore number 3 is root system. Right, okay. Number 4, what is this? This is the stem. Number 5, here's 5. You can see a tiny bud over here. Now the tiny buds that arise from branches are known as lateral buds. Okay, or another name is there, axillary buds. Okay, these are lateral buds. We will name that. Lateral bud or axillary bud. Okay. Number 5. Number 6, leaves. Number 7. Can you see another tiny bud present in the top of the plant? Now this top is known as the apex. Because this bud present in the apex, these are known as apical buds. Okay? So this is the apical bud. Number 8. Branches. It's a branch. Number 9. Fruits. Number 10. Flowers. And what about number 11, children? Now I told you, when you look at a plant, there are two main parts. These are known as systems. There are two main systems in a plant, right? The system or the part that present underground is known as root system. The part which can see from above the ground is known as shoot system. So this entire part is the shoot system, right? Shoot system. Understand, children? So this is how you can label a plant. Now this is a flowering plant. All the parts are here, right? We can see the taproot and we can see the lateral roots, and we all know that the underground part is known as the root system, right? And we can see the stem, right? We can see the lateral buds, and number 6 we can see the leaves, and we can see the apical bud, and we can see branches, and here fruits and flowers, and this entire part which present above the ground is known as the shoot system. So it's very clear how to label a flowering plant. So what you all have to do here in this assignment is the same thing. You have to press a plant, you have to paste it in your field book, and you have to label it in the same manner. Understand? Right, children. Now we are moving to the next topic of our lesson. I already explained you in this lesson, we are going to learn the diversity of the parts of plants. Okay, so we are going to look into the first diversity or diversity among roots of plants. Now under this one, we are going to learn that there are different types of roots in plants. Okay, so we have an assignment to do. We will see. Select a small grass plant and a Cupermania plant. Instead of Cupermania, you can even use Monorecudumbia. That is also a herb. Okay. So after adding water, uproot them carefully without damaging roots. Now you all know the reason to add water to loosen the soil. Because here we are going to study the roots. Therefore, roots should not damage. Right. So wash the soil of the roots. Press it between pages of newspaper and dry. Understand? And then you have to paste these two different types of plants in your field book. So we will go see this experiment now. Okay, children. So this lesson we are learning about differences in different parts of the plants, right? So first we are going to look at the differences in plant roots. So in this case, I have two different types of plants. This is a grass plant and you know this one. This is Monorecudumbia, right? So look at this plant, children. I hope you can observe it carefully, right? So when you look at this one, you can see there are tiny roots and they start from the same place at the base of the stem, right? See all these parts, all these root parts, they start from the base of the stem, right? Same place. So this type of root system is known as a fibrous root system, right, children? So I'm going to take this plant now, Monorecudumbia. You all can see this one. There's one main root. I showed this to you earlier as well, right? This main root is there. Other tiny roots start from this main root. Okay, so this main root is known as the taproot, right? These tiny roots are known as lateral roots, which are fixed to the main root. Okay, so when we take this one, there's no main root. You can see clearly there's no main root. All these other tiny roots look the same. They start from the same place. So we will compare these two plants now, right? You can see this Monotrocudumbia plant, it has a taproot, and to the taproot these lateral roots are fixed, right? If I take this grass plant, it doesn't have a taproot, right? So it has a tiny other roots or fibrous root system, and these fibrous roots start from the same place, right? It is at the base of the stem. So this type of root system is known as the fibrous root system, and this Monotrocudumbia plant has the taproot system. So you all know that you have to paste this taproot system and fibrous root system in the field book. So in this case, we have this previously pressed taproot system, the Monotrocudumbia plant. Okay, we have the fibrous root system, previously pressed grass plant. Is it clear, children? Even in this one, you can see the differences very well, right? The plants with taproot system and the plants with fibrous root system. Hope it is clear. Right, children? So did you observe how we did that activity? I'm sure it's very clear. Now, even though here I mentioned grass and Cupamania should be used, there I used the Monotrocudumbia. But I earlier explained that instead of Cupamania, you can even use Monotrocudumbia. Okay? So, did you observe how two different types of root systems were there? I'm sure you must have observed this. Now, do you remember we saw something like this? Now, what are the two different types of roots, children? Taproot system and fibrous root system, right? So, look at this. Now, this is a plant with a taproot system. Can you all see? This is the taproot or the main root. This is the taproot, and these are the lateral roots, right? So it was very clear when we were observing these plants. This type of plants, they had one main root, and there are other tiny roots arise from this main root. These other roots arise from the main root or the taproot are known as lateral roots. But could we see in grass this type of taproot and lateral roots? No. All the roots look the same. Okay, so this type of root system, now this is a grass plant. Okay, now here you all can see tiny roots present. They all look the same. They all start from the same place, from the base of the stem, right? So this type of roots are known as fibrous roots. Okay, now these are fibrous roots. Fibrous roots. So after doing this activity, it's very clear some plants have taproot systems and some other plants have fibrous root systems, right? Look at this. Some plants have a single large root which originates from the base of the stem, right? It is called the taproot, okay? Single large root which arises from the base is known as the taproot. It is called the taproot. Okay. Large number of roots are originated from the taproot and they are called, what is the name? Yes, lateral roots. They are called lateral roots. Lateral roots. And this type of root system is called, it's very clear now, taproot system. Taproot system. Right, now what are the examples for a taproot system, children? The plants with the taproot system. Now we already know because we did an experiment with Monotrocudumbia. So we can write Monotrocudumbia and some large trees like mango, guava, they all have taproots, right? Many other examples are there. And some plants have a large number of small roots which are originated from base of the plant stem. They look alike. This type of root system is called, now what is the name? Yes, fibrous root system. Fibrous root system. Understand? So what are the examples? Now we already know that grass is one example. What else? Coconut, areca nut, they are also coming under fibrous roots. Understand, children? So when you go into the environment, you will find so many other examples as well. So what you have to do is, you all have to observe the environment carefully. Understand? So look at these pictures. Now, you can't always observe the roots present because the roots present underground, covered with soil. But there are some instances like this. Look at these special examples. Sometimes you can see these type of fruits outside as well. Okay, look at this mango. You can see how these large roots spread through the entire area, right? Coconut and areca nut, can you see all these roots start from the same place? Right, children? Even in areca nut, it's like this. From the base of the stem, all the roots start. Okay, but when you look at this mango tree, you can see this one root just goes down and it spreads, it branches off using the lateral roots. Understand, children? Now we are going to discuss about the functions of roots of plants. What are the functions? Why does the plant need its roots, children? Just think hard. I'm sure you all understand there are so many important parts about these plant roots. What is the main function, children? Now remember, when we discuss about these functions of different parts of the plants, there are main functions and other functions also there. Okay, so when it comes to the plant roots, what is the main function, children? There are two main functions if you can think clearly, right? There are two main functions. What is number one? It will fix the plant to the soil. So how can this plant stand on soil? Using the roots. How does this happen, children? Now you all know that there are plant roots like this, right? So these roots can go through the soil particles and nicely fixes to the soil. Okay, so these roots are very important for the plant to fix to the soil. Therefore, the main function of plant roots is it can fix the plant to the soil. Okay, we will write that. Number one, fix the plant to the soil. What is the other function, children? What is the other important function? Now I told you there are two main functions of plant roots. One main function is fix the plant to the soil. What is the second important function, children? So you all know that water is very important for the growth of the plant and also to do photosynthesis. So where can this plant get water from? It is from the soil. So soil water present between soil particles. So you all know that when these plant roots go through the soil, these tiny roots arise from the main roots. These are known as root hair. Right? Tiny roots are known as root hair. You will have learned this last year when we were explaining about the photosynthesis, right? So root hair. Root hair can absorb water and minerals present in soil, right? So water and minerals are absorbed by root hair and it is given to the other parts of the plant. So the second main function of the root is absorption of water and minerals from soil. Okay, we will write that. Absorption of water and minerals in soil. Right, children? Number 1, fix the plant to the soil. Absorption of water and minerals in soil. Now remember, these two are the main functions. Okay, these two are the main functions of plant roots. Understand what are the other functions? In addition to these two functions, are there other functions as well? I will explain. Remember, children, some plant roots can produce new plants. Only some plant roots. For example, curry leaves, right? Let's say now this is the plant root. Okay, this is the soil and this is the curry leaf. Okay, so these plant roots can produce new plants. These type of plants, from these root areas you can see tiny other plants have arisen. Okay, that is because these type of plant roots, they can give rise to new plants. This is known as vegetative propagation or vegetative reproduction. Okay, so we will write that. Some plant roots can produce new plants. And this is known as vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation or even vegetative reproduction is correct. Okay, that is because producing new plants is known as, it is the reproduction, right? So what are the examples for vegetative propagation? I already mentioned you about curry leaves. That is one example, right? Curry leaves and breadfruit, belly plant. These are the examples. Okay. So, main functions of plant roots are, number 1, fix the plant to the soil. Number 2, absorption of water and minerals in soil. In addition to these main functions, some plant roots can produce new plants. That is also another function. But remember, children, if you are asked to write what is the main function of plant roots, you can't write this third one, because this is an additional function. This is not the main function. So in that case, you have to write either the first one or the second one. Okay, children, I hope you understand this part. We have another assignment. Now, so far we discussed what are the different types of plant roots. There are 2 different types of plant roots, fibrous root system and taproot system, right? And we learned what are the functions of plant roots as well. So here we have this assignment. Remember, we do this assignment in order to study what are the other different types of plant roots and their functions. Now, the main types of plant roots are taproot system and the fibrous root system. But apart from these taproot and fibrous root systems, there are some other important plant roots as well. We are going to do this assignment in order to study those plant roots as well. Okay? Right. So, assignment, we will go through this. Uproot a mimosa plant. Mimosa plant, even last year we discussed about mimosa plant. Touch me not, right? So, uproot a mimosa plant without breaking its roots and wash the roots carefully. Now, you know how to remove a plant by adding water, right? And draw the root system of it on a white drawing paper. You can use an A4 paper, right? So, draw the root system of it. Now, you will see when you observe this mimosa plant roots, there's a special part or special nature of these roots. You will see tiny round structures. I'm going to show this in the lab now, right? So, you will see tiny structures are there in these plant roots of mimosa plant, right? I'm going to explain you later as well. These are known as root nodules. Okay. These are known as root nodules. Understand, children? We are going to observe the root nodules, how it is attached to the plant roots. And when we discuss about root nodules, children, inside these root nodules, there is a special bacteria. Its name is rhizobium. Okay, so this rhizobium bacteria can provide nitrogen to the plant. Understand, that is the importance of this presence of root nodules. Okay, so however, what we have to do here is draw the root system of it on a white drawing paper and then paste it in the field book. Okay, you have to observe a mimosa plant root, you have to draw it on a white paper and you have to paste it in your field book now, right? And then observe the yams of beetroot, carrot, sweet potato and manioc. Now these are food items, no, we eat these things. So you have to observe them carefully. Right, children? You will understand even this beetroot, carrot, sweet potato and manioc, what we eat, they are roots. Have you ever thought of that like that, children? They are actually roots. Okay. So draw them on a white drawing paper and paste it in your field book. Okay, children? Now we are going to do that activity in the lab. Right, children? So we learned about different types of root systems and their functions as well. So here now I have different types of root systems in order to understand what we learned before, right? So what we have here, I have a beetroot and a carrot. Okay. So what do we have? What is the specialty of these two different types of vegetables? Even though these are like we use it as vegetables, but these are actually roots, right, children? So if I take this carrot, this is actually a storage root. What is the meaning of a storage root? A root which stores food. So this root, this is actually a taproot. In the taproot, this carrot has stored food. Okay, so you can see nicely, you can see the lateral roots as well. Now this is the main root, this is the taproot, and this is the, these are the only one, clearly you can see one lateral root, right? Even here, yeah, if you observe carefully, you can see the lateral roots. Okay. So if I take the beetroot, beetroot is also a type of storage root, and beetroot stores food in taproot. And this is this only one lateral root we can see clearly. A tiny one is here. Right, children? So this beetroot also stores food in the taproot, even the carrot. And apart from this taproot, some types of plants, they store their food in the lateral roots, right? So now this one, beetroot and carrot, in the they have the taproot system, so they store their food in the taproot, the main root, right? So there are other types of plants like manioc and sweet potato. They also have a taproot system, but the food is stored in the lateral roots. So we don't have those two examples here. Now I'm going to take this plant. What is this plant? This is a mimosa plant. What we call is touch me not. So you can see clearly, you can see the root system here. Now already I explained you what is the specialty of this mimosa plant root. You can see these tiny structures. What are these structures, children? These are known as root nodules. So what is the specialty of these root nodules? You all know this now. Inside these root nodules, there's a special bacteria called rhizobium. So this rhizobium bacteria, they can provide nitrogen to this plant. So nitrogen is one important substance needed for the growth of the plants. So these rhizobium bacteria present in these root nodules, they can provide nitrogen necessary for the plant. Okay, so not all the plant roots have these root nodules, only some plants, especially plants called legume plants. Now legume plants are the plants that belongs to the family called Leguminosae, right? So these plants have these root nodules, right? So next I have a rampe plant. Rampe we use when we cook food, right? We put into these leaves, we put into curries. So we use, this is a quite big plant. I'm going to hold the leaves like this. So you all can see these are the main roots present. Now I will show you this rampe plant, it has stilt roots. Now this is a stilt root. This is another stilt root. This is another one. Here's another one, only part of it is there. So what is the importance of these stilt roots, children? Now you can see stilt roots are connected to the stem, right? So as this plant grows bigger, these stilt roots can support the plant. So the plant will not fall or topple, right? So therefore, the importance of this stilt root is it provides support to the plant stem. But remember, there's another main root system as well that presents underground. These stilt roots you can see above the soil level, right? So next I'm going to take these roots. Now children, if you have observed these large trees, have you seen banyan trees? Banyan trees are kind of very large trees, right? As they grow bigger, their branches also go really big and they become very heavy. So in that case, in order to support these huge branches, prop roots arise from the branches, right? So these are tiny prop roots, the beginning of the growth of the prop roots. Now here I have, this is a type of large prop root. So it arises from the branch and it grows down and finally when the main branch gets bigger and bigger, the prop root also goes down and finally it fixes to the soil, right? So that large branch, it will not break. Therefore, the main function of this prop root is it provides support to the branches of the trees. And we have another plant. This is a betel plant, right? So when you look at this plant stem, now these are the leaves, this is the stem. You all can see this stem is not strong. This is a weak stem. So because of this stem is very weak, this cannot grow upwards by itself. It means it has to attach to another surface, maybe to a wall or maybe to another plant. So in that case, apart from the main root system which fixes this plant to the soil, they need to have another set of roots in order to hold on to that surface that it grows through, right? So you can see these tiny roots are here. These are known as climb-in roots, right? So you can see here, they are well-grown climb-in roots here. These are a little bit tinier, right? So using these climb-in roots, this stem, it can attach to the certain wall or certain another plant very clear, very firmly. It can attach to the that other surface using the climb-in roots. But remember, apart from this climb-in root, it has another main root system as well that it present underground. Okay, children? So here finally I have a leeks plant. Now we already observed about these taproot system and fibrous root system. Fibrous root system, I showed you this grass plant. Here we have this leeks plant. You can clearly observe, better than that grass one, you can observe the fibrous root system really well here, right? You can see there's no any main root, no taproot. All the tiny these fibrous roots, they arise from the same place, right? Okay. So I hope it's clear. Right, children? Did you observe the mimosa plant and beetroot, carrot and other plants as well? I hope it was very clear now. So now you all know that these carrot, beetroot, sweet potato, they all are coming under types of roots. Now beetroot, carrot, they store food. Okay, and at the same time, mimosa plants, they have root nodules which can provide a lot of nitrogen to the plants, right? Look at these pictures. Now this is mimosa plant and its roots. Now you all can see here tiny root nodules, Okay, so what is the importance again, children? There's a special type of bacteria living in these root nodules of mimosa plant, and they are known as rhizobium. So what is the importance of rhizobium bacteria again, children? They can provide nitrogen to the plant. Okay, children, so this plant has a lot of nitrogen when these root nodules present in the plant roots. So what type of plant roots or what type of plants have these root nodules, children? There's a special type of plant, a special family called legume family, right? Legume plants. These legume plants have root nodules. So what are the examples for legume plants, children? Now mimosa is one example, right? Now other examples are beans, winged beans, right? Lentils. These are the examples. Right, children? These type of plants are known as legume plants. Legume plant roots have root nodules. In the root nodules, there is a bacteria called rhizobium. And rhizobium can provide a lot of nitrogen to the plant. And nitrogen is one important factor for the growth of the plant. And it can produce proteins as well. That is why by eating these type of plants, we can get a lot of proteins. So what does this bacteria get by living inside these root nodules? They get a place to live, and at the same time, they get the nutrients required as well. Okay, children? And we observe this beetroot, carrot, right? And these can be considered as storage roots, food storage roots, right? So they store food in their roots. For example, when we take beetroot and carrot, this is their taproot. Okay, so if this is the carrot plant, this is their taproot. I showed it to you in the lab as well. And these tiny lateral roots also you can see. Okay, so it means in this carrot plant, they store food in the taproot and even in the beetroot plant. What about this manioc and sweet potato? They store their food in the lateral roots, not in the taproot. So if the plant is like this, if this is the taproot, so these lateral roots, they store the food. Okay. So you all know now what we eat as beetroot, carrot, manioc, sweet potato. They are part of the roots. Understand, children? So now these are not the main types of roots, but these are different types of roots with special functions. Now you all have to memorize these type of roots as well. Okay, children? Right. What you all can see here, we can see some special types of roots. Now you will know that when it comes to roots, now there are two main types of root systems like taproot system and fibrous root system. So all these roots present underground. So we can't see them clearly when the plant is already fixed to the soil. But there are some other roots that we can see from above the ground, children. Now we are going to discuss about those types of roots. These are some special roots that you all can see from above the ground. Okay, so take a good look at these pictures, children. You all can see. What is this first picture? Aerial roots, orchid. Now this is an orchid plant, right? Have you seen orchid, children? Now orchid is a type of epiphytes. Now you all know what an epiphyte means. I earlier explained that one, right? So epiphyte means a type of plant that grows on another plant. Okay, so this orchid is an epiphyte. They grow on other plants. So what happens here? I will show you. Right. So if I take the orchid plant, I told you they grow on another plant. If this is the other plant or host plant, and you can take the orchid plant like this. And in this orchid plant, you will see two different types of roots, children. One type of roots will keep the plant fixed to the other plant like this. Right? So this orchid plant grows on another plant, it's an epiphyte, it attaches to the plant using some special roots. And at the same time, you will see some other special type of roots also present, hanging like this. So most of the time, these roots, they are grayish-white in color or pale green in color. Okay, children, these are known as aerial roots. What is the function of these aerial roots, children? Now, did you ever imagine that orchid plant, it grows on another plant? Now, normal plants that grow on soil, they can absorb water and minerals from soil. But how come these orchid plants absorb water and minerals, children? That is done by these aerial roots. Now, these aerial roots can absorb water vapor from the atmosphere. Okay, children, that is the special function of aerial roots. Okay, so they can absorb water vapor from the atmosphere and thereby orchid plant can fulfill the requirement of water. Understand? So there's another function as well. I told you some of these aerial roots are green color. So they can do photosynthesis. That is because presence of green color means the presence of chlorophylls. And the presence of chlorophylls is one essential factor needed for photosynthesis. Okay, children. But remember, the main function of aerial roots is absorbing water vapor from the atmosphere. Understand, children? I hope you understood this one. Right. Now look at the second picture. It's a large banyan tree. Now you must have seen banyan trees. They are very large and they have large branches. Now when we take these banyan tree, children, they have a taproot system. Okay, they have a taproot system. Now we can't see this taproot system because it remains underground. Okay, but at the same time, they have some special types of roots as well. If you observe carefully, these roots, they begin from the branches like this. So as the branches of these banyan trees gets bigger and heavier, you will see these tiny roots arise from the branches. They grow longer and bigger. And at one point, they will grow longer and longer and fixes to the ground. So what is the importance? It can support the branch. I told you when these banyan trees, their branches grows bigger and it spreads in a wide area. Okay, children? So it needs an extra support for not to fall. Okay, so that is given by these special types of roots called prop roots. Like a prop, it can nicely hold the branches. Okay, children? So it starts from the branch, it grows down. At one point, it will fix to the soil and it will hold the branch nicely. It will support the branch. So these are known as prop roots. Right? These are known as prop roots. Look at the third one. Stilt roots, pandanus. You can see a large pandanus tree. Where can we see pandanus trees, children? We can see pandanus plants in coastal areas, right? In beach areas. So these pandanus trees also, sometimes they grow really big, right? So what happens? Now you will see they have a they have a stem like this. Okay, but what happens as they grow bigger and bigger, sometimes this stem itself cannot support the entire plant. Okay, so the presence of these roots underground is not enough. So they need an extra support, children. So you will see there are stick-like structures arise from the bottom area of the stem. These are known as stilt roots, right? These are known as stilt roots, children. Understand? So pandanus plants, and another example is rampe. Rampe and pandanus plants, they both have stilt roots. So what is the function of these stilt roots, children? They support the stem. So I told you most of the time the pandanus plants present in coastal areas. In coastal areas, you all know that strong winds present, right? If they don't have an extra support, these plants might topple as well. Okay, so to give an additional support to the stem, these stilt roots start from the stem of the plant and it fixes to the ground. Therefore, this plant will not fall off. Understand, children? So stilt roots is also coming under another type of roots that we can observe from outside. But remember, pandanus plant has a main root system which is remaining underground as well, that we can't see. Only the stilt roots can be seen. Understand, children? Okay. What is this plant? It is a betel plant. Now when we consider this betel plant, pepper plant, they have weak stems. Now when we discuss about the stems, some stems are strong like mango, guava, right? Therefore they can grow very nicely without any support. But there are weak stems as well. So these weak stems, they need a support to grow upwards to get enough sunlight. Understand, children? So these type of plant stems, now let's say that betel plant. Now this is the tiny plant. It has an underground root system which fixes it to the soil. But at the same time, they have a weak stem. Therefore, they can't grow up without any support. In that case, what happens? This plant stem will attach to another plant. How do they do that? They will attach to another plant. Now, this is the other plant. They will attach to another plant using special types of roots. Right? These are known as climbing roots. Why are we called these climbing roots? That is because these roots are important to climb through another plant. Understand, children? So remember, betel or pepper, those type of plants, they have a weak stem. At the same time, they have a main root system as well that is remaining underground. But in order for this stem to climb through another plant, special type of roots present. These are known as climbing roots. Right, children? These climbing roots can nicely attach this plant to another plant. Understand? It's like a very sticky glue. It attaches nicely. If you try to remove it, it might even break. It is that sticky. Understand, children? So these climbing roots are very important for this plant to hold on to another surface. Understand, children? Right. So we are moving to the last one, respiratory roots. Now last year we learned about mangrove environments. Where can we find the mangrove environments, children? It is associated with the coastal areas. In lagoons, in estuaries, we can see the mangrove environments. So what are the special characteristics of these mangrove environments, children? One special characteristic is soil is partially covered with water. And the other thing is that water is saline or semi-saline. Okay, so it means water is mixed with salt. Right? So because of the presence of saline water, this soil contains less amount of oxygen. So this affects the plant growth. Let me explain what happens here. So if this is the plant and if this is the soil, the main root system is there. At the same time, I explained you this soil doesn't have enough oxygen. You all know that for the growth of the plant, oxygen is one essential factor. So what happens, children? Now they don't have enough oxygen in this soil. Therefore, there's a special adaptation, special change take place. What happens? Part of these roots, they come out of soil. They come out of soil like this. Understand? And these parts of the roots that have come out of the soil, they have tiny pores, so tiny holes. right? So, what is the importance? Through these tiny pores, air can go inside and the plant gets enough air, enough oxygen. Understand, children? At the same time, they can send carbon dioxide also out. Understand? So, this type of roots are known as respiratory roots. Another name is breathing roots. In some books, you will find pencil roots as well. Now, here they look like tiny pencils. And in some other articles, you will find this as knee roots as well. That is also right. I will write knee root, pencil roots, right? And breathing roots, that is also correct. Understand, children? So plants in mangrove environments, they don't get enough oxygen from the soil, enough air from the soil. Therefore, they have a special adaptation. Okay, that is the presence of these respiratory roots. So respiratory roots also you can see from outside. So I hope it's very clear that even though there are two main types of root systems, like taproot system and fibrous root systems, now we can't see them from outside, but there are some special types of roots that we can see from outside. Okay, children? Aerial roots in orchid plant, prop roots in banyan. So what is the importance of prop roots, children? Prop roots they support the branches, right? Stilt roots in pandanus, in rampe as well. So what is the importance of these stilt roots, children? They support the stem, right? And climbing roots in beetle and pepper plants. What is the importance? They attach the plant to the another plant or another substrate, right? And finally, respiratory roots. What is the importance? In order to exchange air from the environment. Understand, children? We have to do an activity regarding this one. We will see that now. Right, children? So here we are going to fill this table, right? Different types of roots and their functions. We will go through this one. We have 3 columns here: type of root, example, functions. You all can start with me. Now I already explained you what are the functions and even the examples of these different types of roots, right? So even without my help, you all can do this now. Now we'll go through the functions. Support the branches. I explained you what type of roots support the branches. See? Prop roots, right? So what supports the branches? Type of root is prop root. Prop root. Examples? Yes, banyan. Banyan is a good example. Right, children? And the next one, support the stem. What type of roots support the stem? Do you remember I explained you here in these stilt roots in pandanus? So because of the presence of these stilt roots, this plant will not fall off because of strong winds. Therefore, stilt root supports the stem, right? So support the stem by stilt roots. Stilt roots. Examples: pandanus and rampe. Right. And the next one, absorb water vapor from the atmosphere. Water vapor from the atmosphere, and some aerial roots carry out photosynthesis, the green color one. So what is the type of root? Yes, aerial roots. Aerial roots. Example, we discussed that orchid is an example. Right, children? And the next one, helps to climb the stem by attaching to another stem. Now it's very clear here, climbing roots in beetle and pepper, right? These are the examples, and helps to climb the stem by attaching to another stem. The type of root is climbing roots. Sometimes in some books you will see clinging roots as well, right? Climbing. climbing roots. Examples: pepper, beetle. Okay. The next one. Exchange of air with the atmosphere. Exchange of air. Where can we find these type of roots, children? Yes, in mangrove environments. So, exchange of air with the atmosphere. What is the type of root? Respiratory root or breathing root. Respiratory. Right? Oh, I will write breathing root. Yes. Okay. Examples. Now, some plants like Kerala, Kadol, they grow in mangrove environments. They are the examples. Kerala, Kadol. Right. So, next we have the function is store food. Remember storage roots? Do you remember we discussed about manioc and carrot, beetroot? I hope you remember. So, the function store food. What is the type of root? Storage root. We call them storage roots. Storage roots. Food storage roots is also right. Okay. Examples: carrot, beetroot, manioc, sweet potatoes. And the last one, bacteria live inside root nodules, add nutrients to the soil. The function: just make the soil fertile. I told you, when it comes to mimosa plant, they have root nodules. There's a special bacteria called rhizobium living there. They can give nitrogen to the plant, right? So here it's talking about the roots with root nodules. We will write that. Roots with root nodules. What are the examples, children? Yes, legume plants, mimosa and beans, wind beans. These are the examples. Mimosa, beans, wind beans. Right, children? So I hope it's very clear. When it comes to roots, there are two main types of roots: taproot system and fibrous root system, but we can't see them, and there are main functions of roots. But apart from those taproot system and fibrous root system, there are some other special roots as well that they have special functions, right? So we discussed about different types of special roots with special functions: prop roots, stilt roots, aerial roots, climbing roots, and we further discussed about respiratory roots, storage roots, roots with root nodules. Okay, children? But remember, now they have special functions, but if you are asked to write down the main functions of roots, you can't write these functions. These are only special instances, special functions. Understand, children? So I hope it's very clear what are the different types of roots and their functions as well. Now we will move to the next part. We have this extra knowledge part as well. We will go through this. Cork used as toppers of bottles are taken from respiratory roots of Kerala. The porous or sponge nature of Kerala corks occur due to presence of very tiny pores and spaces in their roots. Do you remember I explained you about these respiratory roots, children? Now in these special types of roots, they come out of the soil and they have tiny pores. Okay. So these type of roots can be taken as cork stoppers. Have you seen cork stoppers? In some medicine bottles, you must have seen these cork stoppers, right? If you observe a cork stopper carefully, you will see there are tiny holes in it and it's very light. Okay, children, it looks like wood, but it's not that heavy. Normally wood is heavy. Even though it looks like wood, it's not that heavy. It's very light. That is because of presence of these tiny pores. Okay, children? So what happens? The cork stoppers are made by these Kerala plants, right? It is actually the breathing root or respiratory root of the Kerala plant. Understand, children? So that is why it is given here, cork used as stoppers of bottles are taken from respiratory roots of Kerala plants. So I hope you understood this part clearly. Now we are going to move to the diversity of the next part of the plant. Diversity among stems. So when we look at a plant, we can identify different parts like leaves, branches, stems, roots, etc. Now we are going to discuss about the plant stem. What do we have here? We have 4 different types of plants. We have balsam, mango, bitter gourd and centella or gotukola plant. Look at their stems, children. You all have seen the balsam plant. They have colorful flowers. There are different plants with different colorful flowers, right? So look at the stem. Now stem is very tender. Sometimes it is a bit transparent. Okay, so you can see the stem is not woody. It's not very strong, but it can stand on its own. Understand, children? Look at the mango tree, children. It has a woody stem. It's a very strong stem. And you all can see there are branches. Even in this picture, you can't see branches because it is full of leaves. But still, you know that mango tree has branches. Okay, and it is a strong woody stem. What can you tell about this bitter gourd? Now, bitter gourd is a type of vine. It doesn't have a strong stem. Right, children? So it doesn't have a strong stem, and this type of vines, they don't have very strong stems. They have weak stems. Therefore, they have the support of another plant to grow upwards. Okay, children? And look at this one, centella, gotukola. Now, they also don't have a strong stem. They have a weak stem. Okay? But at the same time, they don't get the support of another plant. Instead, they run through the ground. These type of stems are known as runners. Okay, so they run through the ground in different places from different roots. They attach to the ground. Okay, children. So in these 4 pictures, it's very clear there are 2 types of stems, strong stems and weak stems. So when we consider plant stems, some of them are strong stems. Okay, they can stand on their own, right? Strong stems. And some of the stems, they don't have the ability to stand on their own. They are weak, okay? Therefore, weak stems also there. So in these pictures, you know that mango, pepper, guava, jack, they are coming under strong stems. Understand, children? And these type of vines like bitter gourd and centella, they are coming under weak stems. But is this the main way that we can divide stems, children? Remember, even though stems can be divided as strong stems and weak stems, this is not the main method of dividing stems. There's another method. I will show you that. Right. The basic difference among stems. Now earlier we discussed plant stems are there, strong stems and weak stems. But that is not the main difference between plant stems. The main difference between plant stem is given here. That is the presence of branches and the absence of branches. Okay, so some trees, look at this coconut tree. It doesn't have branches. From bottom to top, the stem is even, the same size. Okay, children? So there are some plants without branches. Stem doesn't make branches. Okay, so plant without unbranched stem. What are the other examples, children, instead of coconut? Now, this is a coconut plant. What are the other examples? Yes, arecanut, kitul, palm trees. All these are coming under a plant with unbranched stems. And the other type is plant with branched stems. Even earlier I told you that mango, they are coming under branched stems. They have branches. Now here from this part you can see this is the stem. Stem is divided into two branches. And from up it's again divided into other branches. Understand, children? So what are the other examples for the plants with branches or branch stem? Now this is a mango tree, jack, guava, pepper. They have branches. So you all have to go into the environment, you have to go outside and you have to look at the environment. You will find there are so many differences among the stems of different plants. Okay, children? Only if you observe these things clearly, you will identify that there are differences. Okay, children? So, we know now the basic difference among plant stems. What is the basic difference? The plants with branches and plants without branches. Some plants, they don't have branches like this coconut, arecanut, kitul, and some other plants, they have branch stems. Understand, children? So what are the examples? Mango, jack, guava, these are the examples. Understand, children? So now we are going to move to the next one to check what are the functions of plant stems. Right, children? So we are going to discuss about the functions of plant stems. Now, do you remember when I was explaining the functions of roots, I told you even in roots, there are main functions and other functions. Even here, we are going to discuss it under the same way. When we take the plant stem, there are main functions and other additional functions also there. So, what are the main functions, children? What is the most important function of plant stems? Yes. Now, you all know that when you take the plant stem, I will draw it here. Plant stem can bear all the other parts of the plant, right? It bears branches and it bears leaves and fruits, flowers, right? And buds. Understand, children? So when you take the plant stem bears all these other parts. Right, children? So that is coming under main function of plant stems. We will write down that one. So because this is a main function, I will write it with a different color. Bears flowers, fruits, leaves, buds, and seeds. Right? The first main function is bears flowers, fruits, leaves, buds, and seeds. What is the other function? Tell me another important function of plant stem, children. Now, you all know that most of the plant stems, most of the plants, they can stay rigid because of the plant stems, because most of the stems are strong. Remember, I explained you that there are weak stems as well, but most of the plants have strong stems. So when we take these strong stems, these plants can stay rigid because of the plant stem, because the plant stem is a strong one. Understand, children? So that is also another main function. We'll write that as well. Support the plant. Support the plant by keeping rigid. Keeping rigid. Understand? So we learned two functions now. bears flowers, fruits, leaves, buds and seeds and support the plant by keeping rigid. Tell me another important function of plant stems, children. Now you all know that plants need water. Where do they get this water from? From soil, right? So if this is the soil, these are the roots, and root hair can absorb water from soil. Understand, children? So they get water from soil and that water is transported to the other parts. Now after absorbing water, this water should go to the other part as well. So the plant stem takes this water towards the other parts. Okay, so this water goes through the plant stem. Now at the same time, you all know that during photosynthesis, plant leaves produce food. That food also should be taken to the other parts of the plant. So that is also done through the plant stem. Understand? So the main area, the main part where photosynthesis takes place is plant leaves. So leaves produce food and food is transported to the other parts through the stem. Understand? So this transport in food and water is also one main function done by the plant stem. Understand? We will write that as well. Transports water and food through the plant body. Transports water and food through the plant body. Now remember, children, these three are the main functions of the plant stem. Are there other functions as well? There are other functions as well. Now, you all know that some of you like gardening. Whenever you see a beautiful plant, let's say a rose plant, right? Sometimes you might ask the owner of the plant a twig, okay, branch of a plant, because you can plant it and get new plants. Now this is how you get a new plant, by planting part of a stem. This is coming under vegetative reproduction, okay, or vegetative propagation. Do you remember even under plant roots we discussed about this vegetative propagation? So remember, children, plant stems also can produce new plants. Understand? Plant stems also can produce new plants. So that is also another function of plant stems. But remember, this is not coming under main functions, right? There are three main functions here. That vegetative reproduction is coming under an additional function. Understand, children? We will write that. Number 4. Vegetative reproduction. Vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation. So what are the examples for plants that produce new plants using this method? Example, shoe flower, rose, etc. Right, children? So there's another function done by plant stems, children, that is storage of food. Do you like sugar cane? We get this sugar juice from sugar cane and we can make sugar using this juice of the sugarcane plant, right? So actually that is the stored food in the sugarcane plant. So there are some plants, they store their food in the stem. Understand? So storage of food is another function done by plant stems. Understand? So number 5, storage of food. Storage of food. Example, sugarcane. And another example is kitul, right? So kitul stem stores their food as kitul flour. Understand, children? Kitul. Okay, children. And I'm going to write the last function. Have you seen green color stems? Have you seen the cactus plant? Now, cactus plant is like this. Most of the time, this cactus plant grows in the desert area, right? They don't have leaves. Instead, they have thorns, right? So, at the same time, they have a green color stem. Now, they don't have leaves, but they have thorns. So, the leaves do photosynthesis. Now, they don't have leaves. Instead, they have a green color stem. So, the photosynthesis is done by the green color stem. How do they do photosynthesis, children? Because you all know green color present in plants because of the presence of chlorophyll pigment. It is a green color pigment. Okay, children, if chlorophyll is present in plants, that part can do photosynthesis. Do you remember what are the factors affecting photosynthesis, children? I hope so, right? The plant needs carbon dioxide, water is taken from soil, right? And sunlight and green color chlorophylls. Okay, children? So some plant stems are there, they are green in color, therefore those type of green color stems can do photosynthesis. So that is another function. Photosynthesis. Photosynthesis. Examples for photosynthetic stems. These type of stems are known as photosynthetic stems, green color stems, right? Photosynthesis. Example. Now I mentioned here cactus. There's another plant called Navahandi. Navahandi. And Hathavarya. And Hirasa. Right, children? So, photosynthesis is another function of plant stems, some plant stems. But remember, all the plants, when they are very small, when they are still a plantlet, they all have a green color stem, right? They don't have woody stems like even mango plant. When it is very small, they have a green color stem. So, by that time, even the mango plant can do photosynthesis. Okay. But a matured mango plant stem cannot do photosynthesis because it has a woody stem. So what are the functions of plant stems? We will go through this again, right? So I told you there are 3 main functions of plant stems and other functions as well, okay? Number 1, bears flowers, fruits, leaves, buds and seeds. Number 2, support the plant by keeping rigid. Understand? Number 3, transports water and food through the plant body. Now remember children, this third step or the third function, you can take as 2 functions as well. You can write down transports water from plant roots to the other parts. And as the 4th point, you can even write transports food from plant leaves to the other parts. That's also correct. But here I wrote both of them together. Understand? So these 3 are the most important functions, the main functions. So let's say that you get a question to write down an answer. What are the main functions of plant stems? Remember, you'll have to write these 3 functions. The other 3 functions I mentioned here are additional functions. They are not main functions, other functions, right? So what are the other functions? vegetative propagation or vegetative reproduction, production of new plants. So examples, rose, shoe flower, those type of plants can produce new plants using the stem, right? And storage of food, examples, sugar cane, ketul, right? And photosynthesis. Green color parts of the plant can do photosynthesis. Therefore, green color stems can do photosynthesis. Understand, children? I hope now this is very clear. Now we are going to discuss about one main important topic under plant stems. That is plants with underground stems. What is the meaning of underground stems, children? Now normally you all know a plant has two main parts, right? If you take the plant, there's a plant that remains underground. That part is known as the root system, right? Root system. And the part that we can see from above the ground, the stem, branches and leaves, that part is known as the shoot system, right? Shoot system. So it's very clear when we take a normal plant, root system and shoot system are there, and plant stem coming under shoot system, right? That is because we can see it. It's above the ground. Understand, children? But remember, there's an exception. There are some plants where the plant stem present underground that we cannot see. The plant stem present inside the soil. Okay, so these type of stems where the stem presents underground are known as underground stems. Okay, children. So we will see some examples. Look at these examples. Ginger, potato, colocasia, leeks, you all know it, right? Onion, they all are coming under underground stems. Okay, children? So what do they see here as a stem, children? We will take the leeks plant. We can see a stem-like structure. What is that? It's not a real stem, remember. Now, if this is the leeks plant, if you observe clearly, you will see there's a hard part here like this and fibrous roots present here. Okay, children, this part looks like a stem, but this is not a real stem. Okay, this is made up of combining the base of plant leaves, right? This stem-like structure is made by combining the base of plant leaves. Understand, therefore, this is not a real stem. I'm going to show you this in the lab. Okay, I'm going to show that this is not real. Understand, children? So, what about onion? Onion, you can see a bulb-like structure. Okay, so onion leaves are like this, and after that this bulb-like structure is there. So, if you observe carefully, you can see a hard white color structure like this, and from there roots arise. Okay, children. So, this is the stem. So, what is this? This also looks like a stem. It looks like a stem, but this is not a real stem. Again, this is made by combining the base of the plant leaves. Right? So, this hard part is the stem. Okay, children, even here in this leaves, in the leeks plant, this is the hard part is the stem. Understand, children? Isn't it very interesting? Now we think these leaves look like a tree, right? So this part is the stem, and these are the leaves, these are the roots. But actually, this is not a real stem, right? There are stem present underground, what we can't see. Okay, children? So you all have to look at the environment. You will find many examples, same to these examples. Okay, children? Now we will go see in the lab what are the important functions of these underground stems. Well, we learned about plant stems and now we know what are the importances about the plant stems, right? And I hope you remember we learned about underground stems. What are these underground stems? We are going to observe two underground stems here, right? So most of the time when we look at the plant, you can see the stem because they have aerial stems. But underground stems, you can't see the stem because they present covered with soil, right? So look at this one. This is a turmeric plant. Now it looks like it has a stem here, but this is not a real stem. This is the real stem, children. You all can see root system is also present here. So root arises from this stem. Now this is the stem part, right? This is the part that we use as a type of food. Okay, so what is this part? This is actually, now the stem-like structure is here, but still this is not a real stem. I can show you. Now these are the leaves. Now this is the base of the leaf. By combining the base of the leaves, you can see it forms a structure like a stem, but this is not a real stem. You can easily separate these each leaves from the stem-like structure. So thereby you can understand this is not a real stem. Well, we are moving to the next one. What is this? We observed this earlier as well. This is a leaf plant and this is a fibrous root system. These are the leaves. So what is this? This looks like the stem, but actually this is also not the real stem, right? Real stem is this part, this tiny bottom part is the stem. Okay, I will show you when I remove these leaves, it will be very clear. I'm going to remove these leaves one by one. See, these are the leaves. I'm going to remove all these leaves and we'll see what we can observe. There's another leaf. These leaves, the base of the leaves, all the bases, they combine and they form a stem-like structure. But these are not the real stems. It looks like a stem, but the actual stem present underground. Okay. Can you all see, children? See, there's another leaf. I'm removing one by one. We have another tiny two leaves here. So what are we left with? It looked like a real stem here, but actually you can see they are parts of the leaves, right? So the real stem is this tiny part. Even these parts, remaining parts also parts of these leaves, right? The real stem is only this part, this ring-like structure. Okay, this presents underground. You can't see it. What you can observe outside is not the real stem. Those are the parts of the leaves or the stems of the leaves. Well, right, children. Did you see the examples for these type of plants with underground stems? I hope now it's very clear. Remember how I showed you that the stem-like part is not a real stem? It's very clear now, right? So this ginger, potato, they all are coming under underground stems. So children, what is the importance of presence of these underground stems? Is there any function done by these underground stems? There is. Now even in the lab I told you that ginger, potato, they store food in their underground stem. Therefore, one main function done by these underground stems is storage of food. Okay, children, storage of food is one main function. I will write it here. Right. Right. So, what are the functions? We'll briefly write down storage of food. Okay, what else? Now, if you take a piece of ginger and if you plant that piece, it will grow as a new plant. which means this underground stem is important as a vegetative reproductive structure, right? So, second function is vegetative reproduction. Some underground stems, they are important for vegetative reproduction, right? Vegetative propagation or reproduction. Right. What are the other functions, children? There's one more function, right? Remember, some of these underground stems, let's say ginger, right? Ginger plant, even grass has underground stems. So sometimes during drought seasons or extreme hot environmental conditions, you know that because of strong sunlight, leaves might dry. But if a certain plant has underground stem, even though the part above the soil dies because of drying off, because of strong sunlight, the underground stem will remain inside the soil. Right, children? So when the favorable season comes, this underground stem can again grow as a new plant. It means this is very important for survival of the plant during unfavorable environmental conditions, right? So this process is known as perennation. Okay, children, perennation. Perennation means plants survive during unfavorable conditions. You're going to learn about this perennation in the other lessons as well. Okay, so I will briefly mention here to survive during unfavorable condition, and this is known as perennation, right? To survive during unfavorable conditions. And this process is called perennation. So I hope it's very clear now. When we take the plant stems, there are strong stems and there are weak stems. But the main difference between the plant stems is the presence of branches and the absence of branches. The plants with branches are known as branch stems, right? And plants or plant stems without branches are known as unbranched stems. And we learned the examples as well. And now we know what are the main functions of plant stems and what are the other functions as well. And further we learned what are the underground stems and what are the advantages or what are the functions of underground stems as well, along with some examples. So I hope this part is very clear now.